Welcome to the Studio Live Today podcast for another week. Today, I'll be scamming my wife. No, I'll be talking about scamming with my wife. Hi, Georgie.
Hi, how you going?
I'm going well. How about you?
Yeah, good.
Ticking along. So, I thought we'd talk about some topics related to scams because even though it's not music specific, it's music adjacent, and in all parts of our lives,
Everybody's getting scam emails and scam phone calls and scam people coming to your door even.
may have been a small incident before the show started.
That wasn't a scam. That was just me being frustrated at delivery people not ringing the freaking doorbell.
Which is a scam in itself because this is not even something we were going to talk about, but we had some porch pirates steal a parcel from our door.
First time it's ever happened, but it was because the delivery driver did not. I was home. The delivery driver didn't ring the doorbell. Half an hour later, someone came and stole it. And they put it in the most obvious spot. There's perfectly hidden places at our front porch. We've got some columns that you can put stuff behind. You can't see it from the road. On the doorstep, like on the literal doormat. Someone just came and stole it.
They came, they stole, and we even have a doorbell
and
camera
now
thing.
I don't have straight hair because it was a hair straightener.
I know it was, and it was your present to yourself for Christmas.
It was my Christmas present to myself, which I
it.
feel okay about because it wasn't a Christmas present to anybody else. If they'd stolen one of my children's presents.
But you know these people are doing the same thing and stealing Christmas presents from people.
Because it was before Christmas, yeah.
It was, yeah. Anyway, that's by and by.
By and by. So when I yelled when we got a message saying there's a parcel at the door and I went to get it, I held it up and yelled at the delivery driver, ring the doorbell!
Like, luckily we've got the camera that says someone's at the front door, and normally then it says doorbell, front door, and it's like no doorbell, they don't ring it. It's a frustrating thing. Welcome in and welcome back. You've been on this show. For those that are newer to the community, you've been on the show plenty of times. We've done
a few.
We've done some quizzes. We've done some trivia. You've been on the happy hour back in November. I had to check all the records beforehand to go that. And about a year ago, you were on the show and we were talking about some things because you were having less of a great time at the time.
I got a bit sick with some breast cancer and then I had my boobs chopped off and now I'm good.
Now you're back.
Put back on again.
And that's a year ago. And
it was a year ago yesterday in Australia, it was the 15th of January of 2024 when I had the surgery, which, it was a year ago yesterday in Australia. And, it was a pretty rough time for a few months there, but I was so fortunate that I didn't have to have any chemo or radio or any other treatment. Now I just take a once a day thing to keep it away. And that's it. All done.
Yes. All done. All down. All done. And that's, I know many of you that have been around for a while know Georgie, and you know that she's just like, yep, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get on, bloody do it, and then back at it. So, but yeah.
So I'm back on the booze now too.
Right, yeah. It wouldn't be us doing a podcast or a happy hour if we didn't have
you have to clink and then drink.
Clink and then drink, that's true. Clink it and drink it. So we're going to talk about scamming. We've got 10 things to go through here today related to scams, and I'm just going to throw them out here. You've actually got some cool examples, haven't you?
I've got a few examples. I set my junk email. It what's the word? Empties every 30 days. So this is literally just from the last month that I've got these emails. So I'll read a few of them out because. They're interesting.
They are. And, bonus tip before we even start with tip number 1, don't go into your junk mail, people. You don't need to. You don't need to read your junk mail. It's there for a reason. I know we all have the FOMO where you're like, oh, what if something really interesting is in there? And no, it's not. It's going to be spam. So just leave it.
The only time you'd really need to go in there is if sometimes you know how you have those, you actually do sign up for something and it says, if you don't get the, verify email, check your spam folder. You do have to do that sometimes, and I have had to do that.
Yeah.
But don't go looking if you go, oh, I wonder what's in my junk folder.
See, this is why we have Georgie along, because you're right. There are times. So don't ever go in your spam folder. And it's like, no, you do have to go in your spam folder if you're expecting something.
Yes.
But don't go in there to find things if you're not expecting them. Because if you're not expecting an email and you receive it, it's probably dodgy to begin with.
It's probably spam.
It's probably spam. Speaking of spam and scams, it's gone all the way back to the other thing. So it's probably not who it says it is kind of the first point that I had here, which is that if someone is telling you that they are a thing, They're probably not. So for me, as a music creator and educator and YouTuber and influencer and all those wanky terms, yeah, you get a lot of emails from people saying, "Hi, I am representing company, and we would like to sponsor your channel." The amount of times that Sony have wanted to sponsor my channel, I had a Chinese metal manufacturing company wanting to sponsor my channel, and I'm like, "Yeah, we do
That's a
talk
good
about."
fit.
We
Yeah.
talk about metal manufacturing quite a lot. So, yeah, it is weird. And people will, I don't know if you know this about the internet, but sometimes people on the internet
Sometimes
lie.
they lie.
Did you have an example on that one or specifically?
Not
So,
specifically. I've got a few on that one actually.
oh,
Well, sometimes they pretend because that's different, isn't it? Pretending to be a legitimate company that want to check your information.
yes.
But no, yours is different. Keep going.
All right, we'll go to the next one, which is just so number 2. And these are all kind of, I wanted to put a sort of positive spin on this, even though it's really hard when you're talking about scamming. But two-factor authentication.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, now look, I had a conversation with my dad the other day, and I know that you help my mum and dad, and you help your mum and your family. We're kind of the tech support people, and you maybe as well as someone who's into technology. And look, it can be challenging, but at the very least, two-factor authentication, put that SMS thing on. Like, I know it's frustrating when you're trying to log into something and it says, okay, we've sent you a text message now. Go and check your text message and then put this 6-digit code in. And it's not foolproof, but it's a heck of a lot better than someone stealing your account, spoofing your account, scamming you out of all of your monies. So put some sort of two-factor. Do you use two-factor on everything? Most things?
Most things.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll come across something and it won't have two-factor and I go,
ooh.
should probably do that. And then other times, for example, I just tried to I did purchase something this morning and it sent a code to my banking app that I had to open up the app, get that code, then go back. And I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. But I set it up that way so it was safe, and it was a few $100s that I was spending. So they wanted to make sure that it was, a legitimate transaction, which it was. So yes, I do.
And if someone else was trying to order something on your behalf and they got to that stage and they don't have access to your app, then that's something that's going to protect you. And
exactly.
The other thing with two-factor, so you might have heard of pass keys. As I whack everything, you might have heard of pass keys, which are like passwords, but physical things. So the two-factor is often related to something you physically have. So it's your face ID, it's your thumbprint ID or your fingerprint on your computer. It's something that can prove that you actually own a device. So if you can move away from passwords to pass keys, it's going to be better for you. Or have both of them on, or 3 different things on. But if you've got nothing, if it's just your password, especially if you've ever been, and I don't think there's anyone in the world that hasn't been part of a data breach or some sort of problem.
7 and counting.
So yeah, you pick all the worst companies. Every although one was the government, so it's very hard.
One was the government and one was a charity. So yeah.
Yeah, when you're giving someone money out of the goodness of your heart and then they give your data away or lose your data, fun times ahead.
But the authenticator apps are quite useful as well. I use them for, is that part of your two-factor?
Yes, good point. I hadn't added that to my list, but that's a good one. I don't know why.
I use that for work because when I log into my work emails, it says open your authenticator app and put this number in, and it gives you a number. And then you type that number in and say, yes, it's me. And then it checks your face and then it locks you in.
I can safely show this because it won't. Actually, I can't because I've got the green screen. But that's my Authenticator app. It just looks like a blank screen. But an Authenticator app will have all the different websites or platforms you're using and then a 6-digit rotating code. So if you're using something like PayPal, for instance, and you try to go and make a purchase, it'll say go to your Authenticator app. And because it re-updates every 30 seconds, it's going to be a different code. So even if someone gets access to it all has to line up perfectly at the time. So you'll be fine. And for those, I know, again, for those musicians and creators out there, YouTube accounts, Spotify accounts, StreamYard accounts, DistroKid accounts, two-factor authentication on all of them, because you do not want someone, you're having a beef with another. You're an East Coast rapper and you're having a beef with a West Coast rapper and they get into your DistroKid account and delete all of your Spotify songs. That would be bad. I'm looking at you, Drake. I know nothing of Beefs or any. I don't even know what
I know nothing of Drake.
I know nothing of Drake. No, I could not name a Drake song. Can you name a Drake song?
Not one.
No, he's the most popular recording artist of the last decade, and couldn't tell you a single song.
If you played one of his songs, I'd probably recognize it, but I literally.
And it's not that we don't like modern music, and I think maybe if we had Stinky Teenage Boys instead of Stinky Teenage Girls,
We do have
then
stinky teenage
it might be different because
No wine.
I think. I think our girls are more into your female artists, your Olivia Rodrigos and your Billie Eyelashes and people like that.
Taylor Swift.
Yes, shake it off. But check the email address. Now, this is one that you definitely had an example of.
I had an example of this. I bank with
a certain bank.
A certain bank. Yeah, I was.
I mean, like, no, you don't.
Show, but you can't see anything.
No.
And I got an email saying, "Dear client, check and verify your phone number, email, and home address," with a big button that says "Verify and check." And the email address that it has come from is rialockhart@munianus.omicronsoft.com.
Omicron Persei 8.
On Microsoft. It's on Microsoft, not Omicron, but I just can't read. It's rialockhart@muniasonmicrosoft.com. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know any banks that are called Munias on Microsoft.
No. And if you wonder,
I won't be clicking that.
No, and this is one thing that, whenever I chat to my dad, he's actually really good at this now because I've showed him that always go to the header, and if it says name of thing, click the little down arrow or the little more button, and then it will give you the full email address. Because by default, for whatever reason, a lot of email apps and clients will actually hide that. So if you hit the little button, it'll show you exactly where it's from, and you can get the details of it.
But it made it look. I mean, it went into my spam folder, so it didn't show the images because it blocks them in spam. But the actual heading, the actual subject heading is notification. Please confirm your details within the next 48 hours. So it makes it seem like it's there's an urgency to it.
Yep.
Despite the fact that it is completely false.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that, and it's these are all additional bonus good tips because it's why it's good to have you here. Because, anytime it's a sense of urgency, like if you've ever had a real security thing from your bank, it'll be immediate. So it's either immediate. So if you've got a real scam, like a real fraudulent activity thing, your bank says, don't click a link, don't do anything, go into your app or contact us immediately via a secure method. So it's either immediate, or if there's actually we need you to update your details, they'll give you like months, weeks and months to actually do it if it's a legitimate thing. And again, I was going to say they won't ever say to click the link because I think we talked about it in a podcast a year or two ago, but you had that Hot Doc app that you,
yes.
It sent you an actual message with a link saying confirm your upcoming appointment. And it's like,
it said, confirm your upcoming appointment or ring this number. And I did have an appointment coming up. So I thought, I'm going to ring the number just to check. So I rang the number and I said, I'm just ringing to confirm my appointment. And she said, well, did you get a text message? And I said, yes. She goes, did you click the link? I said, no, that's how your identity gets stolen. And she was like, oh, yes, I will confirm your appointment now.
We could confirm your appointment now, you smart ass. That's what they would have said. Never let anyone have remote access to your devices.
Oh, my gosh, no.
And here's the thing.
And they're tricky about that too, aren't they?
Yeah. And you've had that before. I always get home and Georgie's often got a tale of some scammer or spammer that was trying to have a chat with her. And the one that I remember was where they were trying to get you to log into any desk and they were like ANY and you're like ANI. Or they're just like deliberately misspelling and mishearing them over and over
type
again.
Type in IP. I'm like, how do you spell that?
It was your IP address like 111.111.111.
Yes. I like getting letters wrong. If they say, P, I'll say, was that B? B? T, sorry. So
T for crime. Yes.
Yes. And I try to keep them on the phone as long as possible.
And look, that is something that you can do, and I must admit it's something that I do. I'm in an ongoing battle at the moment with a particular company that shall remain nameless, Unique Offers, and I've had my 25th call yesterday. We've clocked up 25, and it's fun because Georgie heard me yesterday. I answered the phone with, "Hello, Unique Offers." And the guy was like, how do you know it's unique offers? And I'm like, because this is my 25th call. And I know you call me from a different number every time, but I just get a feeling that it's going to be you. So, yeah, don't answer it. So either don't answer it, or if you answer it, just have fun and play with them and
Or
waste.
just hang up. If you're expecting a call and you get a call that you're not expecting in the meantime, you're allowed to hang up. Or I once had an argument with a scammer lady that she should be ashamed of herself and she was, bringing shame upon her family. And she was arguing back at me. She was like, I'm not scamming. I'm not asking you for any money. And I'm like, no, but you're just trying to access my data and this and that. And we had an argument. And she was yelling at me and I was yelling at her.
It is interesting how aggressive, and I get it. They're hung up on and yelled at all day, 24/7. So it is a hard job. I've worked in outbound legitimate outbound telemarketing, and that's hard enough. So you sprinkle in the fact that you're actually committing crime instead of actually offering a semi-legitimate service, and it's even worse. But yeah, unfortunately, if you've watched any scam baiting things online, you'll see that usually more vulnerable people are tricked into going to websites, logging into their banking while someone's actually in their computer, and what they can do is obviously not only transfer money from your bank, but they can go in and collect up all your passwords, and all your secure stuff is suddenly insecure. And I want to pause at this point and say you might think, I could never do that. I would never get scammed. You'd be surprised, because once you get in, they're actually very good and manipulative and able to actually sell you on why you need to do it. And as you said before, that sense of urgency, if you think that something like these people will say, your entire bank account is at risk unless you let me log into it right now. Unfortunately, some people go, well, then that must be the case, because I've heard that there's all these dodgy things. And unfortunately, the more dodginess that is in the world, the more paranoid people are about it. And somehow, the more gullible and vulnerable they end up being in relation to it. So
it's sad.
It is sad. So don't. And I know that a lot of people watching this know a lot of this stuff. Like maybe you'll pick up one or two bits and some aha moments or whatever. But tell your friends, tell your family, help people out if you know it.
Tell the older people in your family, because they're the ones that are at risk.
And that's not to be ageist or anything, but we've grown up with this stuff. Like my children literally grew up with an iPad in their hands. I struggle with it. Yeah, I struggle with it too. And the difference between knowing in the past, it was more like 80% of what you saw in the media and on newspapers and TV and stuff was real, and 20% was fake. And it was pretty easy to iron out what was false. I reckon it's flipped over. I reckon the internet is about...
I was going to say 50-50, but yeah, probably on the internet.
It's more like 80% is not true, or a half-truth, or at least... Oh, you got an example on that?
I think I've got an example of that one. I got an email about eating fruit before bed, and they wanted me to watch a video. Gosh, I've got to find it now. It was basically, did you know that eating blueberries before bed is really great for inflammation? And here's a video about other fruits that can help you. Click this link. And I'm like, I really could. Oh, here it is. Did you know that eating fruit before bed is one of the best natural solutions for reducing inflammation? For example, some Harvard guy says blueberries are high in natural antioxidants. Well, yet some foods can help lower inflammation, and there's a blah, 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 and it's the American USDA thingy. Click the video to discover the 5 foods you should never eat if you have arthritis or joint pain, and a big, video, click this link thing. And I just think, well, that was in my spam folder for a reason. It might actually be a video. I don't know. It might be a video about the best and worst fruits to eat for arthritis, but I'll never know.
You never know. And that'll be this one weird trick to reduce belly fat immediately.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the email address is admin@quippysquibber.com.
Was it Quippy Squibber your nickname in high school?
Wasn't sausages yours?
Yes, it was. Not really.
No. That's just a thing we say.
It's a thing. It's not
I got in trouble with some friends because I said we were going to a get together, and I said I'd bring some hot nibbles, meaning like, nibbly food,
spring
but
rolls.
hot, like spring rolls or, little mini quiches or something like that. And I said, I'll bring hot nibbles. And then I said, incidentally, hot nibbles was my nickname in high school. And they're like, why was that? No, I'm joking.
It is a problem. Like, many people know that on this channel. Like most people that are sort of veterans of Studio Live today understand my very sarcastic, very dry sense of humour. But there's some people that have come into the community, and if they're not sort of used to it, I'll say some things and they'll just take it on complete face value, and I'll be like, yeah, no, I'll go, hey, party people, and people are like, oh, Pete's a party guy. Like, couldn't be more opposite from that. So yeah, don't let people remote into number 5. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. And this one's for your music people in particular. You know, those emails and messages that you get that are like, we can get you subscribers 500, followers 1,000, only $29, and we will double your Spotify plays per month. You look like you
have won something.
You have won something. Publishers sweepstakes dealy or something. Do you have an example of one of these? You can keep looking.
I have a lot of them actually. Like, I got one the other day. Now I have to find it again. And it was about. I had won like a court case or something.
Oh,
Never been involved in a court case, but sure. Here it is. Dear recipient, and the email address is mark@inboxly.com. This is to inform you that the watchdog organisations had series of meeting in the past week and have decided to settle you for the resources you misfeed to swindlers. This new year, 2025, you have been awarded a compensation package totaling $2,750,000, which may be transmitted electronically to your nominated bank account or, at your preference, a MasterCard bearing the corresponding value will be awarded. Blah, blah, blah. I can't read this. But it said to validate your information, your full name, current home address, country, phone number, and government-issued ID.
You know, all the information you should never give out to a stranger on the internet. Yeah, just all that. Give them all that.
But I could get $2,750,000 for a court case that I was never a part of.
Yeah, unfortunately, and a lot of it is to do with that. It's sort of almost a healthy, wealthy, and wise thing. Except you replace the wise with famous. They're the 3 things that I see. Is that all of these scams and spams are usually to do with, I'm going to improve your health, like your blueberry dealy. I'm going to improve your wealth situation, like how about $2.75 million, and I'm going to make you famous, which is I'm going to give you a contract, or I'm a record company executive, or I'm going to get you 1 million views on YouTube, or whatever it is. It's playing into people's desires for things.
I thought of another one when famous people contact you. For example, you follow a comedian on Facebook or whatever, and then all of us, and you're in the fan group. Say Michael McIntyre, for example, he's a famous UK comedian, and if you're in the Michael McIntyre fan group on Facebook, and then all of a sudden you get a message that looks like it's from Michael McIntyre with terrible grammar and spelling and asking for personal information from you, probably not him.
Probably not him. I have this problem 2 ways, because I actually reach out and sort of cold call people and contact people who are musicians and artists. About 50% of them don't believe that I'm me. The ones that have heard of me don't think I'm me. They think I'm someone pretending to be me, which, thank you, very flattering. But I've never had that problem. No one has ever bothered trying to scam or spam people pretending to be me. Yet, touch wood. But yeah, they just think that it's some sort of scam or spam, and it's the reverse positive situation problem that I tend to have, where I'm reaching out to people saying, I really like your music and I'd love to play you on my show, and they're just like either crickets, because they're like, I get these emails 10 times a day. And usually they're from people saying, oh, I can promote you and I can get you 1 million plays on Spotify. So if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And this is something that I still remember. Our parenting style is not aligned with, we're somewhere in between. There's people that just let their children do whatever they want on the internet. There's people that restrict their children from having any access to anything online because they're worried about them being manipulated and whatever. We have had our children online and using devices, as I mentioned, for a long time. But I remember early on my kids were playing Roblox. They were 8 and 10 at the time. And they came to me all excited because they're like, Dad, there's this website that gives you free Robux. And I'm like, Okay, let's talk through this.
Learning opportunity.
So there's a website that gives you free Robux. Okay, what is the offer? Oh, all you got to do is click this button, and they give you 100 Robux for free. I'm like, okay, how much does 100 Robux cost? And they're like, oh, $5. I'm like, so this company, these people are giving anyone who clicks a link $5 for free. What's the catch? And they're like, there is no catch. It's free. I'm like, but no, if they're not Robux, if they're not Roblox, they have to acquire these things. That costs them money, and they're giving it to you. How are they able to do that? And yeah, ruined their fun completely. But yeah, just little things like that, little learning experiences, I think are important. And now, when the kids get a text message or a inbox message into their Instagrams, which are heavily monitored by us, our children love the fact that we get to follow all of their Instagrams and
They particularly
posts.
love it when I ask them questions about their Instagram.
Yeah. So
posts.
what does this mean? What's this meme that you're talking about here?
Yeah,
And
so
they're like,
oldest said to me, I said, oh, she said something about a friend, and I said, oh, is that the one that does blah, blah, blah? And she goes, oh, I forgot you follow me on Instagram.
Yes. So I say all that to say, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And there are no such thing as a free lunch. And, you know, if the product is free, you are the product, and all those cliched things that people like to say. This is something that's big in the YouTube world and in the music world, which is sub for sub and follow for follow. So this is again more around that vanity metric. So sort of like healthy, wealthy, and famous. This is the thing that people think that they attach their value to how many people click a button and how many numbers are underneath their name on whatever platform it is. This is almost always a bad idea. You might think on the surface that what's wrong with that? You know, support each other out, you know, like for like, follow for follow, sub for sub. But the problem is everything is algorithmic these days. So everything on Facebook and everything on YouTube is all algorithmic, which means that if you've got 1,000 followers and 900 of them are people that have just subbed you, only 100 people are actually truly listening to you or watching you or doing things or engaging with you, then the algorithms look at that and they go, A, most of these people are probably not actually real legitimate followers, and that might start culling them off, not actually killing the people, just removing them from following you. And then it'll also say, and don't promote this person's stuff to other people. So I see people going, oh, I'm on a race, I'm on a goal to get to 1,000 followers by Christmas, and I'm at 400 right now. So, you know, if you've got any second accounts, or if you just want to get your dad or your friend or your dog to follow me, that'd be really great. It doesn't work. It's actually the worst possible thing you can do. So I know it's probably not something that you care that much about, because I don't think you ever said to me.
I don't have a YouTube channel.
I don't want. Yeah, you want less Facebook friends and Instagram friends and people following you and caring.
Sometimes
about.
I have to go through and cull, not kill.
Oh, the old
Cull, the Facebook cull and the Instagram.
Yeah, around about 2 months ago, there were a few people in the US that I had to remove from my friends lists for reasons that we won't go into here. So sub for sub, follow for follow, don't do it. Reviews. This is a common one for people buying things. How many times have you been and you've checked out a product and you've seen reviews for it and you've seen Amazon reviews and you're like, oh, this is 4.8 on Amazon. This must be the best product ever. Or you've tried to research a company that looks, sounds, feels like a scam. It's done all of those things that we just talked about, but you go and it's proudly on its website says Trustpilot score here, and its Trustpilot score is like 4.9 stars out of 5. The vast majority of the time, unfortunately, it's that whole 80-20 thing again with the internet. About 80% of, I would say, of all reviews and all acknowledgements and what are they things called, testimonies, are paid for or faked. And that's pretty sad.
And they tend to start sounding the same or very similar. So if it's, say, for example, a nail polish.
Yep.
This is the most amazing nail polish I've ever owned. It doesn't chip, it doesn't crack, it doesn't stink. And then the next one is, I love this product. My nails don't chip anymore. There's no smell and it doesn't crack. And the next one is, thank you so much for creating this product. My nails have never been less chipped and less cracked and it doesn't smell. And it's just like, you're saying the same thing, but in a different way.
So, yeah, when you get those repetitive words, it's usually bots or low-paid people in developing countries that are putting those reviews on there. They just basically spend their entire lives creating new user accounts on various platforms and then reviewing products. And they actually get paid per review. They get told what to say and they get paid a very small amount of money per review that they do.
So they have to crank them out.
They do. The other trick that a lot of companies do, and you may have had this if you bought something through Amazon or especially AliExpress or places like this, they'll give you a coupon or they'll give you a percentage off or they'll give you some sort of credit that you can earn if you do a review. So they say all you have to do is go to trustpilot.com, click this link, give us a 5-star review, and then we'll give you $3 off your next purchase. So there's incentivized, and I used to always find this weird that I worked in customer experience, and I know you do some incentivized surveys, and I actually think, I don't care about you doing them because you're on the earning end of it, but if a company is relying on data that it gets from incentivized surveys, that data is always complete rubbish because I don't know about you, but if you can answer every question by just going down the middle, neutral, because you tick off a box and you get paid for it, a lot of people are going to do that instead of going in and really carefully, clearly giving their opinion and their feedback. So, yeah, if you're being incentivized to talk about a product or to do something, then it can always be.
So you're saying that I'm
part
special?
Of the problem?
No, I'm special in that when I do a survey, I actually.
Well, see, you have integrity. You're part of the 20% of the internet. The 80% of people that do the same thing that don't have integrity and that are just farming the system, they're the problem. And my tip, by the way, for reviews and for any rating system whatsoever is ignore 5s and 1s. So whatever you're looking at, completely ignore the 5s and 1s. In fact, if they've got numbers there and it's got like a percentage, just recalculate the percentage by removing the 5s and the 1s. Assume the 4 is the best and the 2 is the worst, because 1s are the 5% of people that just can't human. Like they are bad at adulting. They get a thing and everyone else is fine with it, and then they're the one person that are just like, oh, I bought this nail polish and it didn't improve my
sex life.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say halitosis, but sex life is fine. So, yeah, but there are people that legitimately have ridiculously high expectations of things, like well outside of what it could actually deliver. So ignore the 1s because they're usually just whingers complaining about things. And, ignore the 5s. And then you'll get the true vibe, because the 4s are the ones that are actually using the product and said, yeah, you know, it's pretty good, but it's not perfect for these reasons. And the 2s and 3s are like, yeah, here's some things you might want to watch out for if you decide to use it. The same product, service, anything.
You're right, I never give 5s because a 5 is perfect and nothing is ever perfect. I could have had the most amazing service ever and I'm just like, but you know what? Maybe that person didn't, I don't know, smile at me as she handed me the drink or whatever. I mean, obviously they do when they do that, but I never give 5s, even if they deserved.
Yeah,
that's on me. That's on me.
Yeah, and this is what I have to put up with. See, I could never do anything exactly right.
It's true, but that's just, but also I would never give myself a 5 for anything. No. If I'm self-reflecting, I will never give myself a 5 for anything. You know, even at work, I will say to my boss, you know, I've done okay, but I could do better. Everybody can.
See, I used to have to, I was the same. I was too humble at work. And then I realized that whatever I rated myself, the boss just made it 1 lower. So I would rate myself 5 so I could get 4s. Because I realized by the end of it, whenever I rated myself 4s, it always got knocked down to a 3. So I just, by the end of my work life, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to go for a 5. Why not? Behavioral marketing and behavioral sciences is really interesting. The value, the perceived value of what we have compared to what other people may have. And there's some really good books by Dan Ariely, who did a couple of books around all of this sort of stuff about how people react when they're in different frames of mind and how when you own something. So if you've got tickets, there's a classic one where someone had a ticket to this big football final and they had to line up and go into a draw, and only 1 out of every 10 people got a ticket, and they bought it for like $100. When you ask that person how much that ticket they would sell it for, it's like $2,000. And then the people that were lining up that were going to be able to get it for $100 that missed out, you ask them how much they're willing to pay, and they're like, oh, 150, 200. So like that perceived value of something that you have compared to what other people have. And it's kind of related to this because the other thing that's big with behavioral marketing is the 3-tier system. Have you ever signed up to a service and you've had the 3-tier system and the middle one's always the most popular?
Oh, yes.
So it's like entry-level basic system, quite cheap, but not quite cheap enough for it to be super cheap, doesn't seem to really give you much. And then there's usually a really expensive option that's
Most
like our
popular.
premium. And yeah, the most popular flag, whatever they put the most popular flag on, you're like, oh, that looks really good value compared to if it's a $30 plan compared to the $100 plan or the $2 plan. The most popular $30 plan looks amazing and it's a great value. So you are being marketed to and manipulated to by most companies. None of the ones that sponsor this channel that we talk about, but all the other ones.
Yes.
So beware, be careful of people and behavioral marketing
And multi-level marketing, but that's a different story.
Oh, I got stories about MLMs from previous workplaces. I won't tell the details of it. I think I'm out of. I was under NDA for a long time, but I'm not even sure if I'm out of it now. But I worked for a company, and they used a lot of third-party marketing vendors, and one of them was a very well-known and highly successful multi-level marketing company. And let's just say that the sort of sales that went through that channel less high quality than some other channels. And as part of the team that I was in at the time, I very strongly recommended that particular relationship be severed. And it was. And it was. So that's my claim to fame. Ask a friend. So no one knows everything and no one's perfect, and I don't know everything about everything. So asking
That's
a friend,
why I'm here.
That's why you're here. That's why I phoned a friend and I brought my wife along, because you don't know everything about everything. And like my kids asking us about things, it's flipped around now because we ask our kids about things because we don't know about some of the
mean?
Yeah, we don't know about some of the more recent, all the skibbity toilets out there.
Especially the words they use these days.
Don't understand it. I don't even try to anymore. Well, I try to, but it's a losing battle.
We have no Riz.
No?
I don't know if that's even the way you use that.
Yeah, I have max Riz. I don't know.
Riz.
I just know that when
No cap.
No cap. When my children text me, I read it and then I have to interpret it. It's like a different language because RLY is really, JK is just kidding.
Yeah, but these ones are old ones.
Oh yeah, I know, but there's new ones. Yeah,
TKS. It's not even like
thanks. Yeah, TKS is thanks. Because is BC now, like just always. And I know we used to have these. You know, we used to have AFK and GTG and LOL.
And H8, like the number for H.
H for using
Remember
numbers
how you
instead
used
of
to have
letters?
to text using the. You have to click so many times to get a number, so you just like to get a letter, so you just use a number instead.
I do. I don't know where it was from.
I don't know why.
No, I do. I do. Back then, what do they call it? The T9 texting, where it was like tap, 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 tap. Like every number you'd have to press it. And then Nokia came out with the predictive one that was like a game changer back on your old 3210s and things. Those were back in my day. To do with that, I don't know, where were we going with this? Ask a friend. Yeah, ask a friend. Ask your young friends to help.
Your young friends.
Your young friends.
Excuse me, young listener.
Yeah, no, it's true. Utilize the people around you. So yeah, because it used to be that I say to my children, ask us about things, and now it's us asking them about things. And like it goes to with like helping people around you. But yeah, don't be so stubborn that think that you know everything and that someone else might not be able to give you some insights that might help you when it comes to avoiding
Be a good
things.
part of your community.
Right, exactly. Like, and thankfully, I've got a lot of people that you know, like Jade and Mike and others that I have chats with, and we have like little back and forths and group chats, and I'll catch up with them, and we'll bounce things off each other. We'll say, hey, this looks like it's a good option, but I don't know about it because of X and Y, and then having another person cast their eyes or ears or other appendages over it is good. I was watching a podcast.
Put their nose over it.
Their nose smells like shit. I can't remember where it was from. It was like a comedian that was talking about this, that apparently their mother sent them a text and they didn't know what LOL meant. They thought it meant lots of love. Yeah. And it was like, unfortunately, your piano teacher from when you were a kid has just passed away. LOL. It's like, yeah, wrong usage there, mum. Not my mum, someone else's. I got a couple, well, in fact, number 10, and then I got just one bonus one. And then if you've got any fun examples, we can
Ooh,
finish off
have
with.
a fun example.
Free, when things are free, you're paying with your data. You're paying with your data, you're paying with your attention. So the surveys that my wife does where she gets rewarded with Bunnings gift cards and the like, which is very cool. And hey, more power to you if you do it and it works for you. But those sort of things, you're paying with your data. So you know that you're giving them your responses to surveys. That's a pretty obvious one. You're exchanging your feedback and your opinions for payment.
I have an example of that.
Oh, there you go.
Look,
okay.
From this is from NRMA, which is like roadside assistance. I don't have NRMA, and I have a car emergency kit, which could come in handy.
Absolutely.
Enter this survey now. So they want me to fill out a survey to get an emergency car kit. It doesn't say what's in the car kit.
Is it legitimate? Have you checked the email address? Is it actually NRMA?
Let's check, shall we?
Doing a live checking here.
Live check. The email address is no. The email address is i2f3ojxq at i2f3ojxq.us.
Yeah.
So probably not real.
No. So there you go. So even if you did have a minute, and that's actually that's a really good example and probably something to sort of finish up here with, is that, you know, the really way out there ones are targeting the 0.1% of people that think they could actually have just randomly won $2 million in some weird sweepstakes that they didn't know they even entered. The more dangerous ones these days are where they're offering a small amount. So the scammers and spammers have kind of worked out that the ridiculous is not going to fool many people. So now they're either offering something smaller and more realistic like that. Like, why wouldn't NRMA give away a car emergency kit? They might. And it's probably, maybe there's another one that's actually legitimate where they are, and they've just piggybacked off the back of that. But if you didn't check that email address, you wouldn't have known that that was the case. So, yeah, and even with the it used to be you've had a few of these where it's like you've spent $450 at Pornhub, and you're like, yeah, that's me. But
it's not. But I tell them. I had a phone call where they rang me and said, I'm from Visa.
Just Visa, just the type of card.
Just a type of card.
Like, I'm from credit card. You might as well say that.
There's a $990 charge on your card to a gentleman's club. And I said, yeah, that was me. No, a gentleman's club, like a strip club. I'm like, yeah, are you judging me for my purchases?
No shame here, bro. Oh, man. So be on the lookout for that. The same with the scammy ones too. These days it's usually things like $299 or $399. These are the sort of payments. For a while there it was like, I see you've been charged $1,200 for a new iPhone through your Amazon account. That's kind of now gone down to, a lot of them are using antivirus, so Norton antivirus and AVG and McAfee and things like this.
I have those ones.
You have plenty of those?
I have the McAfee ones.
McAfee. Not McAfee Day.
McAfee.
Yeah, so the way these work is, if you don't know these scams, they say, you've just been renewed.
Your subscription has expired, or you have 24 hours to renew your subscription, or it's just been renewed for $499.
Yep.
Click here to dispute this charge.
Yep. Yeah, and if they get you on the phone, if there's a phone number and you call them, or if they call you, then you go through the classic refund scam, which are the ones where you do all the things that we said not to do, which is give away your personal data, let people log into your phone or your computer, and then you go into your bank account, and what they do see is they make it look like they've refunded you, instead of $499, $4,999. And then they ask you to go to the store and buy gift cards and give them the gift cards over the phone to pay off the extra money that they've deposited in your account. Whereas all they've actually done is edited the HTML on your bank site to make it look like you have extra money. So I know that sounds far-fetched, and you're like, who's doing that? But again, if people are nice, like generally people that are vulnerable are also very nice, and nice people think that if someone's made a mistake and could lose their job because they've accidentally given you $5,000 instead of $500, they want to actually try and help them. So what I'm saying is, be like me, be a cold, heartless bastard.
If somebody gives you $5,000, you keep it. And if you go to the store and buy gift cards, they will they will warn you now. I was
getting
buying
better.
five $30 gift cards just before Christmas for my nieces and nephews, and had it was designed for students, so all the places that kids would want to go. And the guy, he had this little flyer, and he goes, "I'm so sorry, but because you're buying more than 3 gift cards, I have to give you this." And I was like, it'd be a pretty bad scammer that wanted 5 $30 student gift cards, wouldn't it? But they do say, in fact, a couple of years ago when I was buying larger amounts, like it was only one gift card, but say a $200 one, they were like, now that people will, and I'm like, it's fine. Thank you, I do appreciate it, but
and I would rather, like, we have a rule that when we're driving, that even if you think the person driving has noticed something that might be out of the ordinary, the passenger is allowed to tell them anything, and the driver is not allowed to get pissy about it. Because even if it's obvious, even if you've seen it, even if you know it, just reinforcing that and saying, hey, there's a cyclist over there about to turn into the lane.
I'm never going to go, I know, I saw it.
Yeah, that's right. What do you call me, an idiot? It's like, if you've seen it, great.
99 times out of 100 I've seen it, and that one time that I haven't. And it's happened. It's gone, watch out for that car. And I'm like, oh, shoot, didn't see that one.
Yeah, because I think a natural thing is to be
driving.
You do most of the driving, absolutely. I think a natural thing is to be defensive and go, of course I've done that. Of course I've seen that. Like I'm able to do that. But again, asking that question, and that's why when the retailers are actually asking these questions, it's a good thing. And when you're having conversations with children, with any sort of vulnerable people in your life, if they're mentally handicapped or if they're older, just, have these conversations and let them know to refer to you, because there's nothing like that. Just get a phone number and then have a call back and just say, hey, I hear you've been talking to my friend and you told them this. And they don't like that. They don't like being called out. They get very angry. They say very nasty words. And you're like, well, you've just proven that I'm 100% correct and that you are a complete scammer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the end of our 10 things here. I know that this was a little different from your usual podcast, but
I didn't get to read my really funny one.
I know we're closing with the funny one. I was
I mean, it's not that funny, but okay.
it is actually good. It made me lol. Maybe lots of love when you told me this one the first time around. But yes, we'll close out in a moment. But do you want to tell us this one and what the context was and what you received here?
The subject is you've been hacked, but hacked spelt H4CKED. So obviously if they put hacked in the subject line, it must, it already went to the spam folder. So
it would have triggered
it's not that
spam.
big a deal. And I'm going to read it out with the grammar that's in here.
Do we need a language warning for this one? Has this got inappropriate language?
No. A couple of words that you wouldn't want to say to your grandma, but it's not fine.
Okay.
I mean, it
is fine.
Hello there. Let's get straight to the point. We've known each other for a while. At least I know. A few months ago, I gained access to your device, including your internet history and webcam. I captured some footage with audio of you masturbating while watching highly controversial adult movies. It's unlikely that you'd want your family, colleagues, or contacts to watch the videos you're enjoying, especially if it's your favourite genre. We both know what I'm talking about. It actually says that. I also plan to release these data on my websites and expose the real you. At this stage, it will be impossible to undo it. Want proofs? Just reply to this email and I will send one picture to your contacts. You may ask, how did I do that? You allowed my ransomware to your device. After that, I gained remote access. After infecting one device, I was able to access all other devices and your Wi-Fi network without issue. I'll just lay out a condition for you now. A little payment to save your reputation is a fair deal. Transfer $2,000 US to my Bitcoin address. It's always bloody Bitcoin.
Yep.
And once the transfer is confirmed, I will remotely remove the virus from your devices. The data will be permanently deleted and you will never hear from me again. Yes, it is a very tiny amount to pay to avoid ruining your reputation in the eyes of people who believe you to be a good person based on your interaction with them using messages. Because I've been watching everything. You have 48 hours. I'll be notified as soon as you open this email. And from then on, it's a countdown.
It's a countdown.
If you've never dealt with cryptocurrency before, it's super easy.
Oh,
Search BTC Exchanger, MoonPay, BitPay, or else you can use cash to buy BTC at an ATM in your local area. And that's it. It stops.
Yeah, that's a good one too, because one thing I didn't mention throughout this is as soon as cryptocurrency or Bitcoin is mentioned,
Yes.
you can almost be guaranteed that it's not a real scam because
Not a real
person, not a real ransomware.
That it is a scam.
Yeah, so that's an example of ransomware where people will threaten you either through embarrassment, through exposure, or through destroying things, your assets. And a lot of companies, you might recall the two major, so Caesars and MGM, the two major casino operators in Las Vegas, both had ransomware attacks last year.
Not that long ago, yeah.
One paid off the ransomware because they just needed it to go away, and they paid a couple of $1 million at least to these hackers, and the other ones didn't. The ones that paid it off only had a one-day outage. The ones that didn't had to go in and fix it and rectify their systems, and they were impacted for about 5 or 6 days. So it is serious when it's serious, but again, you've got to look at the context and not only the fact that, I'm wondering what the adult, I love the favorite category things. And it turns out you're just watching like old, depressing, like 30s movies. It's like, that's the adult content I like. I watch Casablanca 4 times every day. But no, it's
Sorry, when you said old, depressing 30s movies, I was just picturing sad 30-year-olds having sex. They were talking about adult movies.
See, I was thinking adult movies. You know how like when Bart goes into Bart and Fink because it's an R-rated movie and he thinks it's going to be like all saucy, and it's actually just because it's an adult movie because it's really like boring and long.
Well, these days it'd be about violence. Like Deadpool is an R-rated movie, but it's just because I've not actually seen any of the Deadpool movies, but I
haven't seen other Deadpool.
I haven't seen the Deadpools, but I'm pretty sure they're quite violent. Which is why I haven't watched them.
I have heard. So, yeah. Bottom line is that it is unlikely.
You said bottom.
Yeah, that's my category. Bottom line.
Bottom line.
Went pear-shaped, as it often does when we hang out together. So
yeah, that's what my bottom looks like. Yeah, we've gone off topic now.
On that bombshell, that is going to do it for this one. Thank you for joining me again. And
me or them?
You. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for joining us
there you go.
Here. If you would like to get in touch with me or with Georgie, you can pass on any messages. Sometimes people message or say hello to you and I'm like, hey, guess what? These people donated. And they said, give it all to Georgie. So if you'd like to make a donation to the channel.
And then I buy gin.
And stipulate, give all to Georgie Gin Fund. Then I'll make sure that gets passed on. And
gin and wine.
Gin and wine. And yeah, head over to studiolivetoday.com if you want to keep in touch with everything going on. All I got left to say is to be kind to yourself this week. Be kind to others. Keep creating and don't get scammed. Bye for now.
Bye.